Let's call the 2018 annual meeting of the Twilight Theater to order. With that said, I'd like to introduce our board members to you. On the end here, we have Chelsea Oberly. She is finishing, wow. Shannon. Chelsea got appointed to the board and is finishing Cassie Kirby's term, and she's up for election this year. Next, we have Cassie Gamble. She got appointed to the board and is finishing Shannon McMahon's term, who was elected last year, so she has one more year. Our director, George Ryan. Myself, Kai Gamble, I'm up for election this year. Paige Tyree is up for election this year. Scott Eller was elected last year, and Kim McMurray is up for election this year. Or Kim McMurray was elected last year, I'm sorry. So with that said, you have the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions, corrections that we need to the agenda?
Kathy, they're up here in front if you need.
No pictures, I'm lost already.
We'll fix that.
Thanks.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Moved by Stacy and seconded, Stacy Barnes, and seconded by Haley Kern to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? All of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Paige was going to give her financial report, but Paige has very little.
Minutes first.
I'm sorry. You have in front of you the annual meeting minutes from last year. Has everyone had time to look at those? If not, take a moment when somebody's comfortable to make a motion to approve them. We'll do so. If you see any additions, corrections, or deletions, let us know.
I would move we approve the minutes.
A second.
Moved by Stacy Gerstein and seconded by Ann Dixon to approve those minutes as written. Any other discussion? All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now, Paige has very little voice, so George is going to present the financials. George?
We're recording this so that we can put this on the web, so it can be shared with everybody in Kiowa County and get support from more than just our membership. Welcome to the 2018 Twilight Theater Annual Meeting. This is your theater. You all helped build it. You volunteer, you sponsor movies, you support it in many ways. This year, we lost one of our founding supporters, Norman Bowles. And Norman, apart from his support, he believed firmly that this theater was important to this town so that our children didn't need to be out on the highway at night to find entertainment east or west. And he did his best to help us to keep that promise. I'm going to hold off on the financials for just a little bit because I'd like to have it on the screen to help respond to that. As volunteers and as members, right now we have 221 annual members. We have 158 youth members. We raised about $11,000 in membership fees from 2018. That's $7,000 up from 2017. And there's free youth memberships that were donated during the gala that are still available and ready to give to more of our young people. Our accomplishments for this year. Many of you came to some of these. We had the Kansas National Guard Band here. 220 people attended. The Pratt Community Choir, College Choir. We had a free showing, 85 people came. Ellen Fontaine Stevenson's concert and silent auction raised over $2,000 for the theater, and we had 180 people come to that. The Logan Mize concert was our first endeavor into a musical concert on a bigger scale, and we sold 200 tickets, and it was well received. Snoopy the musical from the high school, we sold 500 tickets in 3 performances. That was a huge success and a tremendous effort on the high school. They did a great job. We've also had school showings where over 500 students came to the theater as part of seeing a movie, having popcorn at a reduced price. And we just did 173 students on Friday to see The Star. Some of them had never been to a movie theater before. Our gala this year raised $50,000 in donation and sponsorships. We applied for a grant from the South Central Community Foundation of $1,000 to fix the marquee lighting that was damaged from the hailstorm and seems to get damaged every year, and we received it. Coming up in the future, we have to decide what kind of events the people of Kiowa County want to see and what they're willing to support. We have a theater company in the works. These are all things that we need more people to come and see these events, movies, plays. We had 7,700 tickets sold in 2018, year to date today. And that was for 167 shows. And an average income between ticket sales, concessions, and liquor sales of $551 per performance. This is what we need to increase. Our average showing, I believe, was 55 people per performance. It would be great to bring that up. The ticket sales across the country are 22% down from last year. Ours are 19% down. Now, that's small consolation when we really need to be increasing that number by 3-fold, 4-fold, and we might not need to raise money from any other source. Mike, would you put up the financials? Or actually, you know what? Run the videos first, and then the financials. The Twilight is a multi-use facility. We present movies, stage plays, concerts. We serve as the auditorium for the Kiowa County school system. Another specialty of ours is business presentations and conferences.
As I go and attend other conferences now, this is the benchmark that I measure those against. Sitting in the theater, in the chairs, in the comfortable chairs, having the big screen in front of you, the acoustics, it all comes together and it's a unique environment.
Our partnership with the Kiowa County Media Center gives us the capability to provide you with multi-camera filming so that this presentation can be sent live anywhere in the world. It's state-of-the-art.
Well, we find great value in the Twilight Theater because it gives us an opportunity to teach classes there, to watch movies, to interact with the community, and to hold receptions there. It's just a great facility.
Everybody who comes to the Twilight Theater, whether it's a conference or a movie for the first time, school kids for their first time in a movie theater, walk away amazed. Most of all, the Twilight staff are here to make your event the most memorable and successful it can be. And we're going to find ways to get that out to the public so that we can get more of these business conferences. It's a great source of income and one of the ones that we need to focus on because we don't have to pay studios for the rights to these. It's better income than showing movies. So using this facility in as many ways as possible is where we have to go. We even do weddings, birthday parties, Christmas parties, company parties, private showings. Now on the screen is what I've condensed down from the profit and loss statement, which there's copies right there that you could all have. I kind of feel like I'm George Bailey and saying, well, our financial condition is, frankly, we're just about broke. We own the building, it's paid for, we have money coming in and money going out. We've reduced our expenses, the operating expenses, to $183,864. Now that's a projection for the year of 2018. Those numbers can't go too much lower than that. In this week, I just saved us $1,200 a year by restructuring our AT&T telephone and internet service and got $100 a month knocked off. We've been doing that since I started 500 days ago, and it has made a difference. I don't see us getting this number much lower, but we'll continue to work on that. There's a profit and loss statement there. No, excuse me, the balance sheet. If you look at the bottom of the balance sheet, on page 2, it shows that the change from last year to this year is down $120,696. Well, that's depreciation. We're essentially pretty much the same. The depreciation is a tax situation, and it doesn't represent the health of the Twilight. In the comparison profit and loss, you can see the differences in our income or public support. Individual contributions this year were $52,594. Last year it was $33,676. Now part of that difference is in the gala, the money that was donated during the gala by individuals is in that number because of the way it was put into the system in VZ, our accounting system. And that's why the total direct support is 92,000. It's up 32,000 from last year. Most of the numbers are the same or better. When you look at payroll, payroll's a lot less, but there's a $24,000 payroll expense that is to correct a difference when we shifted from QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks Desktop. That took some information that didn't get transferred and we put it in that $24,000 payroll expense that wasn't there last year. It's on the middle of page 2. So that was something that needed explaining. And the rest of the numbers show the improvement and lowering of expenses. When you get to the bottom line, this profit and loss statement is January 1 to December 11th. We are down 13,000. Last year we were down 42,000. So that's a big help. But most of that help came from donations from the founding families, which I'll go into later. That was the big difference there. I've broken down the expenses in a way that perhaps we can get individuals or companies to help sponsor in a smaller way. These are the monthly costs for all those items that have a 12 in front of them. And it breaks down our operating costs to $15,322 a month. Our net income is $14,548 a month, which is a net monthly loss of $744. Now that's not horrible, but it would be nice for things to go the other way. Our goal is to increase revenue from all sources to make this happen, to keep the Twilight growing and expanding and doing more for you and the community. We've cut as much as we can in these operating costs. Payroll is a big number. Payroll is half of our operating costs. The theater is very efficient. It's a state-of-the-art building. It cools itself well. It heats well. But we can't do it without the labor. Last night we had 100 people come for The Grinch. And we've lowered our staff hours as much as we can. And we struggled to get the doors open on time. So that staff number is a real number when it involves training new staff as our students leave and go to college. But I don't see that we can save any more money in labor. My hours I was hired to work part-time, 25 to 30 hours a week to manage the Twilight. And that was the goal. I come to find pretty soon that that was kind of impossible for me, and but I'm not going to count that. This means that I'm donating $25,000 of my time to the theater. And that's my way of paying back to the community, because we moved here because this was home for Serena, and it's home for me now too. There's no place I'd rather live right now. I donate that time. Mike McBeath is cut the hours that we pay him to help. And Alyssa Brown, who did most of the work on redoing our annual memberships, and was a big part of getting that to be a success this year. Ryan Tarver also donates some of his time. I look on the website and I see that picture of Charles Spainhour sitting there reading a paper, which must have been like during the day, and I think of him and hope he's looking down and happy with what we've done with what he started. Staff hours in that payroll number, and I do have a breakdown of that. It's a lot of paper. Total staff hours for the year will be about 4,800 hours. And that's 14 employees, which averages to 92.25 hours a week. And that's with school showings. This was the busiest week I've experienced since I started here. With the school showings that we had. Monday night we had the school concert, and Tuesday we had a corporate presentation by BASF, and Wednesday we had a board meeting, and Friday we had 173 students from Montezuma and Copeland, and yesterday we had the church showing for the Star, and a successful showing for the Grinch last night. And I bet we should have 120 people come today to see the Grinch. These expenses, and we'll send out a letter to everyone with that on it, and you can have a copy of it right there on the stage, to see if we can get that to be a possibility. Does anybody have any questions for me about these financials now that you can look at them? The 2017 financials are unaudited because the company, Kennedy and McKee, who does the book work, can't audit their own work, and they did a lot of work to get us over from QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks Desktop. And it's a work in progress, and we're improving that every week. And it's a lot of work. We do our own 941s, our own sales tax reports, liquor tax reports, unemployment reports. I always had an accountant to do that for me. But we save money by doing that ourselves. And that's our focus, to do the best we can with the least. And if no one has any questions, I would like to ask Claire Banta to come up, and we're going to honor our youth volunteer. Oh. Jason Brown, would you come up here? Jason's been taking tickets. He's the only one who's taken more tickets than me or Rod Hesser.
Well, Jason, I want to commend you for being a volunteer. I want to tell you a little story. I want to go back to the 20s. Bishop Spadar had this theater, and they had, we didn't have sound or anything in the theater. It was silent movies. And they had to have a piano player to do that. And my mother did this for this theater. That's the reason I'm so interested in the theater. Congratulations.
And if there's no questions, I'll ask Kai to give his report.
Thank you, George. Guys and gals, boys and girls, we need to really give George a hand. He's the best director. If George can't figure it out, I'm not sure there's anybody out there that can. And George is working his tail off for the board and for all of the owners of the Twilight Theater, which is each and every one of you. I'm not very good sometimes at speaking, so I don't know how this is going to come out. But bottom line is, folks, we've got to have more help and more support for this theater to remain viable and a part of this community. That is the bottom line. What you're seeing on the screen, and don't take offense to founding families. We didn't know any better way to say it than founding families, so that's what we're using. But each and every one of you in this room, whether you gave $5, $10, $100,000, are a founding family of this theater. There's 5 families the last quarter of the year when we can't make payroll and can't operate that have been stepping forward the last 2 years. And you can see the dollars that those 5 families have contributed. Norm Volz was one of them, and Norm is no longer with us. So now we're down to 4. I don't know how long those 4 families, I don't know how long we can continue to go back to the well for more money. We've got to educate our constituents, our consumers of the theater. We've got to have some help along these lines. If we don't have help and those families don't continue to step forward, we're done. Bottom line. So, with that said, and don't take it as too negative, but I guess it is negative. With that said, we came up with the sponsorship line item idea of sponsoring a monthly expense, and you have that in front of you. It was on the screen earlier. And there's line items there that range in price from $100 a month to $2,900 a month. From our yearly fire. Can you put that one back up, Mike? From our yearly fire extinguisher and sprinkler system maintenance that's required, we have to do it. Everything that is still on this list, we have to do. And we put that list together for the membership to look at. Hopefully community involvement also. And hopefully there's a line item on there that fits everybody for a month, for 2 months, for whatever. But those are our fixed costs that will not go away. And it's not cheap to operate the facility. So, I lost my train of thought now. What George said earlier, we have got expenses as low as we can get them. The only way they can get lower is if we have more volunteers. But you're still going to have a George. You're still going to have an Alyssa. Alyssa done wonders this year getting our annual membership renewals in. And we're better than we were last year. We can get rid of some paid staff and concessions, but you're still going to have a paid person there, the manager, to oversee the concessions. There's just not a lot more places we can cut. We do not feel as board and management. Question for the membership. What can we do? Where do we need to go? How can we gain traction here and gain ground? That video that's put together, we're trying to go more into the corporate world and get conventions here. It's a very, very nice facility for that. It's reasonably priced compared to what you would rent a convention center for in a big town, but we feel it needs to be to get it going. The Volt group that comes here every year, Mr. Barnes loves coming here because we're isolated. There's no distractions. He can keep his people focused because there's no distractions. That's another thing that we can sell. And George is working hard on it. But anyway, we need movie attendance. We need live performance attendance. We met our mission statement this year when we brought our live performances of Logan Mize. And we thought we'd sell out, but we were only half sold out. It was a tremendous concert. It was a tremendous experience. We have to have support when we bring events. But back to my previous question, audience, membership, founding families, what can we do to better ourselves? Kim?
I think that all of you are here really care about the theater, or you wouldn't be here. And like Kai said, it's our theater because we've supported it. So your responsibility is more than ownership. Your responsibility is to educate the people who are not here today, as far as we need to tell them how important attendance at these events is. But also we need to explain, I'm not sure everybody in the community realizes that movie ticket sales, I'm not sure if we feel this, maybe you guys could tell me. Movie ticket sales are a double-edged sword. You know, we sell a lot of tickets and bring on a lot of people, but that's more money for the studios. You know, we give away, we have to give back so much of that money, and I don't think people understand that. You know, I've heard people say, well, I bought a ticket, but I might not go, but that's just my donation to the theater. Don't do that. If you're not going to come to the movie, come hand George a $10 bill or something. And it's up to all of us who are here to educate everyone who's not here. You know, like anything else, a lot of people out there aren't going to think about it until it's gone, until they don't have this opportunity anymore. So it's up to us to really spread the word and talk about it. And spread the word, you know, we all have connections that maybe we could host meetings here. And I don't know a lot about that, but I would think that's a pretty good bang for our buck as far as hosting conferences and our technical capabilities. We all know people we can say, hey, come have your conference here. So.
Roger?
Yeah, could you tell me the input from the school and the expenses of supporting what the school's contribution is toward upkeep of the theater?
The school's contribution is $7,500 a year is what they pay. That number is based upon calculations of man hours spent while the school utilizes the theater. It was a number that was agreed upon between the school and the theater 3 years ago.
It would seem to me that they could support it. If they don't have this facility, it's going to cost a lot more than it is. I think they can make up the gap and take some pressure off of what you're expecting all of us to help carry. That would be a suggestion.
And that is a definite thought. It's been discussed here. It's not been discussed at the school. It's been discussed here that, and again, we're getting into a world that I don't know because I haven't researched it, but if the theater ceases to exist, it would be relevant that the school would end up with it. At that point, you're right, it's going to cost the school more than $7,500 to operate it. That is an additional possibility.
I don't think even up to $50,000 a year would be out of line for the school to contribute to the assistance of the theater.
Tim, did you have a question?
Well, my question is for George. You mentioned box office sales are off 22%. What's the reasoning behind that?
The best reason that I've heard is that the movies just haven't generated enough interest on the part of people to come see. And that's...
Some of that too, we all know that the movie industry is moving to streaming, so Netflix is...
That's what I was wondering, is it shifting to another form of media other than...
That's definitely a part of it, but the experience of going out to a theater, getting out of your house and being a part of the public and being part of the community, I think is really important. And to teach our kids to do that, because if the world becomes everybody living in their basement watching TV in their pajamas, there's not much hope for our future.
I don't question if it's a good idea to get out of the house. That's my comment is, or my thought process, is if that's not happening, then it's not a realistic goal for us to expect our attendance to go up.
Not for movies, that's correct.
Yeah, not for movies. I think this facility needs to be looking at something else besides movies.
And just when we showed that video, that's we just finished that yesterday. Grant did an amazing job on that, and he's been putting it together, and I did my part on Friday, and we're going to find ways to get that out to the public. It's like Greensburg needs to grow. It's a beautiful garden that's been recreated, and there's people who are leaving, but houses that are for sale get sold pretty quick, it seems to me. And I believe this town will grow. I think we need to do anything we can to improve that and get businesses to come here, and businesses will bring more people. We're in a unique position of being reborn. It's just taken a little longer than everybody had hoped, who's done so much work to this point. And I really commend everybody for what they've accomplished. when this tornado happened and my brother-in-law Dale said, by God, we're going to rebuild this town. And he meant it, and we've done it. And Mike, if you could show that little video that I have of the students.
I'll try.
That would be one or the other of them, the one that seemed to work. I tried to take little snippets of video of all the things that happened here, and this one really got me to see these kids in the school productions. And this theater is so important for them and what we do with these kids. All the young people who work in this theater are tremendous, wonderful kids, and give me hope for the future of this town and our country. Let's see if Mike can get that one little video. It's like a minute and something.
Are there other avenues that we need to be exploring? I mean, moving away from just movies. You all know what we've offered in the last year, the live concerts and the conferences, business conferences and the private parties. Are there other kinds of events that we are not thinking of? Are there other kinds of events that we haven't tried that you know of that we should be marketing?
I think the Logan Mize concert was a start. I think more events like that need to occur. I think we need to challenge our conventional thinking, I guess, as this is a movie theater. You take the contributions out, this doesn't work. It's not profitable as a theater. So I think what we should be doing is looking at, the movies are filler between other events when nothing's going on. But if we continue to just show movies, we might as well, you'd be closing doors for too long.
Okay, we did the concert with Logan Mize with a promoter, and normally it's a fair amount of money to get any of these performers in. And we made a deal with them that we would give Logan the door, and we didn't really plan on making any money. Our goal was to not lose money, and I think we lost $400 to put that event on. But it was an experiment. It was a Thursday. It's a tough day to get people out, but we did well for a Thursday and our first experience. We're going to need to get better speakers than the ones that we have for a concert venue. And the way that the concerts would work would be for us to be in the loop of a performer's travels. So we're on the way to their next gig, and one of the promoters, Ryan Platt, that we deal with, he came to me with this one group, and the name is escaping me. And for us to do that, we would have had to come up with like $10,000. And I said, we're going to have to pass, because I don't know that I can go out and ask for $10,000, and we sure don't have it. But going forward, we can do concerts and get more people in here. Doing that 200, it went pretty smooth. We learned a lot, but it was a success to get it accomplished and jump in the river and start swimming in that direction. We have finally gotten our fiber optic line set up with the city, and we're going to beam that here. We have antennas to put up, and that will allow us to get content at a lower cost, which could be sporting events, movie events, and that would be a possibility now that we have that capability, and we're going to explore that. Mike, couldn't get it to work? Okay. So, in closing, I'm hopeful for finding ways to make this happen. The building's paid for. Expenses are trimmed. We need to grow the income, grow the community. But I'm very hopeful that we can make this happen. But it's going to take the people who see this video and understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and help to be a part of the future of the Twilight. Because this is an asset to the town, and it's a reason to come here. And it's a great place to be. And I thank you all for attending. And Kai, if you want to say anything else, and motion-wise?
Well, we're all open for suggestions and comments, what we can do better. Kim?
I'm looking for a point of clarification. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question. But if in fact, in the future at some point, the school took over operation of the theater, it wouldn't be a movie theater. We'd have school events here and that's it, right?
Yes.
That would be right.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Because the school couldn't have a liquor license.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all coming. We appreciate what each and every one of you have done. We do still have a board vacancy. If any of you want to serve on the board or know somebody that would like to get on the board, we do have a board vacancy. The board nominating committee met, and we had no interest from anybody outside. I agreed to serve another 2 years. Chelsea agreed to serve another 2 years, and Paige agreed to serve another 2 years. So those are the three of us that are up for election. We would entertain a motion to elect that slate of candidates.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Roger Stotts and seconded by Ann Dixon to approve that slate of candidates. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for coming. Your board is working hard. George is working hard. You folks get in the community and work hard and bring us ideas how we can make this better. George, do you have anything else?
This theater is an asset to this town, and it will grow as the town grows. And the school is another huge asset to this town. Just knowing these school kids, watching the performances, and seeing how well these children are learning and growing, this is a wonderful place to grow. And it's brought many people here. Mike McBeath came here to help rebuild this town. And 10 years later, he's on the city council. And he's an important part of this theater. Alyssa and her family, their house was destroyed by the tornado. They moved to Pratt, and they moved back. This is going to keep happening, and this town will come back and be vibrant again. I really believe that. And I thank you all for having that spirit, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't. And we need to share it. Thank you.
We'll start the line right up here for the people who are interested in sponsoring a line item off of this sheet. There's a lot here that each one of you could do if you're interested. We'll just take your name and get you signed up.
Got another comment. I mean, we've got some short-term problems, some short-term financial hurdles to get through. But I just wonder if long-term, is there any benefit to consider setting up some sort of like endowment fund? Like Norman Bowles, I mean, would there have been an opportunity there for him to contribute into something other than just a one-time cover annual expenses type of contribution? Because sad reality is those events are going to happen, and there's probably people in this town and this county that would consider putting something towards that if it was there. If it's not there, it's not going to get anywhere. So.
We already have an endowment fund set up. There is $6,247 in the endowment fund that we have left alone and not rated, for lack of a better way to say it. But I don't know how much longer we can leave that alone. But we kind of like to have a little something for a rainy day if we need it.
Well, at least there's
when
something
we need
there.
it quickly. But yes, we set that up early on, and
Good.
we've been shoving some money to it, Tim.
We should probably do a better job of marketing that. We haven't. And
That'd be my comment, that you've got the endowment fund, but it's in place, but how many people are aware of it?
Yeah.
I think all of these issues, it's about education. People just don't know. And I think if people were aware of this, both from volunteerism to financial contributions, I think if people knew that there were opportunities, they would help.
And that's why we're videotaping this, so that we can get this word out to more people. A lot of people look at our Facebook page and the website, and that's important, and we'll get this word out. We have forms for the endowment fund, and we'll find ways to put that on Facebook too as part of another source of revenue.
Is there some way, like say just the endowment fund, as an example, the trailers before the movies, is there some way to put something together, just a little 10 or 15 second spot, just to remind people that that's there? And other things that we've talked about today. Just some way of reminding on a weekly basis. I mean, people in town, I mean, the comments made about some of the ticket sales goes to the theater. I don't know how you would put that in a 10-second clip, but I mean, try to find some way.
It's actually on the screen in a short little blurb, that, like for the Grinch.
But try to take those opportunities to educate.
Yeah, we'll do that. For the Grinch, it's Disney. They get 65%, and that's nationwide. And it is what it is. But these are the movies that people want to see, and we try to bring the best movies that we can for this community.
Is there a fee you pay in addition to the 65% commission you give them?
Yes, there's booking fees and shipping fees. It costs a minimum of $350 to bring a movie to the theater in total. That's why that's what the sponsorship fee is for a movie.
So that kind of covers the cost of getting it here. Then in Disney's case anyway, they get 65% of the gate.
Correct.
Yeah. And part of that, there's a minimum. So they get a minimum, and then anything over that minimum, they get 65%. So a lot of times, we're giving them 80% when we only have 40 people come to a movie.
I don't think people realize that. I don't know how you educate them, but
We'll create something that better explains that situation.
Is that not why in other theaters the concessions are so high?
So that's where we make it.
You're exactly right, Luke. That's where you make the money. Because we've had that conversation.
Yes.
Do we raise ticket prices? And if you're only keeping 40 cents out of a dollar anyway, you're not gaining much to get to where we need to go. And if you have a family that only comes to the movie with $20 and you take more of it for tickets, they buy less concessions, we didn't gain anything. And we want it to be affordable entertainment, as our mission statement says. So we kind of want to keep the tickets and the concessions lower, but they may have to go up like it or not, and we hope that it won't burn us on the backside.
2 weeks ago, we were in Los Angeles with family, and we went to an 18-plex movie theater. It was a huge building with internal parking, 18 theaters, averaging 300 seats per theater, some bigger, some smaller. The concession stand was twice the size of ours. They actually had a smaller popcorn machine, and their popcorn wasn't half as good as ours. It didn't come close.
You paid twice for the amount.
For the ticket.
And it wasn't quite twice, but it was amazing how much everything cost. This is a much better experience here.
One other thing, I think we mentioned it last year, but these gaming tournaments, is that something that would be possible here? I don't know what kind of setup they need or any of that stuff, but.
There would be some computer setup. Mike, could you address that a little bit?
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on different ideas. With a single screen, there's not a lot we can really do to attract a lot of people. So we've talked about maybe bringing in portable projectors and setting up, different gaming stations throughout the auditorium. But to do any of that again, it's just more resources that we need to put together to accomplish that.
Any more questions?
Have we actively sought out doing membership drive again? I mean, with people coming into the community, are we going out and seeking them out and asking them? Are we promoting what benefit maybe there is of being a member?
I will get a welcome package together. There's a new pump business in town, and I went and introduced myself and gave them a package of what we offer for advertising and all the things that can be done here. You can rent the theater for an event, and just welcome to the community and gave them 2 movie passes. And that's a good idea for the people who move in here for the first time. Thank you. We'll do that. Well, we managed to keep this to an hour, and I really appreciate all of you for coming and all of you who watch this online.
Thank you to the board for all that you do. Thank you for all that you do.
If there's no other questions, comments, or suggestions, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Tim Tyree and seconded by Kim Gamble to adjourn the annual meeting. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.